Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Boston Marathon Bombing Chronicles, Volume 2. Moving right along, we were just getting into my notes here, so let's go ahead and start from the beginning. This can all be backed up by the sources that I have cited at each one. On the first page, didn't really cite some, in the first couple pages didn't really cite so much, but definitely have cited enough stuff that if you look, you will find the right time, the definite right times. Oh, that's a little bit too far there, kids. Fuck, I keep trying to center this motherfucker and it just won't work. I mean, oh my god. Let's try that. Let's try just a tiny bit more. Hey, I'm centered, baby. Alright, so moving right along. Let's get right into this. So, April 27th, man is arrested in a ricin scare by it's a Mississippi man. This comes off of Fox News. That's at 7:50 Boston time, or Eastern Standard Time. All of these will be Eastern Standard Time unless I say otherwise. So next, 5 minutes later, at 7:55 Eastern Standard Time, police retract statement about FBI holding a presser, or but that's what they're called. It's a short-term word for press conference. So when you hear me say presser, understand that that's what I mean. I mean press conference. So they decided, yeah, we were going to have a press conference tonight, but we're not going to be able to. We're going to hold off until tomorrow. They did that twice that day on the 17th, by the way. This is 5:03 Phoenix time, this next entry, and this is from ABC 15, and they're talking about suspicious packages everywhere. Could be copycats, this, that, it just fucking blew up. We actually found one package, I swear to God. It was a gold box with like a silver question mark on it. Looked, I swear to God, like one of those little boxes above Mario's head when he jumps up and hits it for the mushroom or the coin. It totally looked like that. You can find it online. I shit you not. I guarantee. Let's see. Moving right along. At 8:08 Eastern Standard Time, it's claimed that the ricin from that guy was low grade, and that was on the Greta Van Susteren show. So, fast forwarding through Dennis Miller. I don't like Dennis Miller, so I just fast forwarded through that part of the footage. Recognize I have footage starting from basically the time the night before the press conference all the way through to, like, I think Monday or Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday. It should be Tuesday of the next week, which would be 8 days after the bombing itself. So moving along, we've got a lot of notes to work with here. At 8:50 Boston time, or 8:50 Eastern Standard Time, they do a smear job on InfoWars and Alex Jones by Bill O'Reilly. At 9:01, Hannity and Fox have photos given to them by the FBI. Remember, I told you about this previously. This is where you'll find the footage. That was on the 17th, and at 9:01 Eastern Standard Time, Hannity and Fox News say they have photos given to them by the FBI. However, it's a wrong description. On Fox, it mentions the camera views above and across the street from Lord and Taylor's. And remember the footage, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about that camera way up that was looking down across the street at where the bombs had been dropped off. Okay, this is supposed to be from the Lords and Taylor. Now, notice that the footage that you see the next day on the 18th from the FBI was not from across the street. So everybody was getting all kinds of disinformation. The American public was being force-fed disinformation at the least, okay, when this was all going on, because that footage you actually saw the next day during the FBI presser was not from across the street. It was from right above the fucking sidewalk. So instead of being across the street looking over here, it was looking right down because it was on the same street as opposed to across the street. So, moving along. 9:43 Eastern Standard Time, Saudi National fronted off. They state that Saudi National being deported and Obama has a chance meeting with the Saudi king that was not on schedule. This is also on the Sean Hannity show that night. And then at 9:58 Eastern Standard Time, they start talking about the West Texas explosion and a Miranda rights debate on whether they need to rape this guy his rights, and whether they're basically debating in front of the American people that even though this guy is quote unquote a terrorist, that they're debating on, well, should we give him his rights or should we take his rights away and make it look good in the public eye? Fucking cocksuckers. So moving on, page 2. 10:15 Boston time. Is there a leak in the investigation? This is being talked about on the news show here. So, now we're going to go to the next day. The next day, the 18th, the FBI says they're going to hold a briefing on the Marathon bombing. That's courtesy of MSNBC. That's 4:10 Eastern Standard Time. 3 minutes later at 4:13, awaiting FBI presser on West Texas explosion as well. Okay, see how they coordinate all this stuff together? And that's another instance where they had West Texas actually conveniently had FEMA in the area, and they were a big help when the explosion went off and people needed help. Didn't we talk about this in the last video? It's a precursor, ladies and gentlemen. Their playbook doesn't change. See, and neither does history. History is our playbook. That's how we defeat these guys. We see how they did it last time, and we defeat them this time. That's why people watch out for drills. When they hear that there's a major drill in LA or Chicago, Phoenix, New York, anywhere, they're like, oh, let's get a bunch of people out there. Let's get people out there so we can witness this shit and make sure that it's just a drill. Anyways, moving right along. 2 minutes later at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time, they started the day with 5 unaccounted firemen, now only 4. Waco PD is treating the explosion site as a crime scene out of caution. Okay? Now, the reason that's important is because it was weeks later, maybe 2 weeks later, or maybe 3 weeks later. I'd have to research it. There's just so much stuff going on in here. That's why I took the notes, to keep it all together. And even with these notes, I have the footage. Everything that I'm telling you here is being told to you as I took notes of the footage that I have from all these major news stations, okay, and the story that's involved. So what we're talking about, they say then on the 18th at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time that is when they decided to treat the explosion site as a crime scene out of caution. And then later, a guy is arrested, turns out to be a firefighter, has maybe explosives and such at his home, and is taken into custody. And at that time, then they say that they're going to start treating it like a crime scene. So which is it? Was it at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time or was it those weeks later that they decided? See, there's too many inconsistencies here. And it's not inconsistencies from media or hearsay. It's from the actual agencies themselves. What I just quoted to you was from the actual presser, the press conference that they did in West Texas. So, moving right along. We're only on page 2, so I'm going to try and crack this out a little bit. So the West Texas presser goes on for a little while, right on through 4:40, and I could see that on Fox as well as CNN, according to my notes here. Let's see. Then at 4:44 Eastern Standard Time, Logan Airport shut down Monday afternoon, the 15th, to prevent anyone from leaving the state or the country if they were responsible. That comes from Fox News. And then at 4:57 Eastern Standard Time, FBI source, 2 men seen in photos no longer of high interest. And why the fuck did they give them to the media? Why are they trying to make the media look like idiots? I mean, they really are. And they're trying to come around lately with all this NSA stuff that's going on. But think about that. Think about that. Why would they do that? Why would they feed disinformation to the public? Why would they do that? Why would they keep changing the narrative? Because a lot of you fucking people eat it up, man. You really do. You really, really do. Moving along. So 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm switching between Fox and CBS, and they're late. And then at 5:15 Eastern Standard Time, they're still late. At 5:19 Eastern Standard Time, we get a 1-minute warning. And then these are my notes. Let's see if we can get that in there. For the press conference. I'm going to read them to you anyways, just wanted to show you. Here's what was said at the press conference. Special Agent in Charge, Richard Delorier. They initially developed a person of interest. The FBI developed a second suspect. Today we are enlisting the public's help to identify the 2 suspects. Somebody knows these individuals. Suspect number 2 was seen on video placing the bag. Yeah, we've never seen that video, by the way. Suspect number 2 proceeded west on Boylston Street. And then they make references to an article in the New York Post, the wrong photos, but weren't they released by the FBI? All of this I got from CBS. I was watching the CBS. I was watching the press conference, flipping back and forth through the news channels. When the press conference finally started, I happened to be on CBS, so that's where I was. Moving on to page 4. So now we're going to jump quite a bit. We're going to jump from 5:19 Eastern Standard Time, and from now on these are all Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to jump from 5:19 Eastern Standard Time to 10:48 Eastern Standard Time. So shots are reported at 10:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Building 32 at MIT is surrounded, according to Fox News. And then at 12:33, it appears the MIT incident is from unrelated liquor store robbery, and that's reported by Fox News. Where would they get that information from? They would get that from the authorities. Now, you're seeing, I hope, a pattern here. Disinformation, disinformation, disinformation. Why can't our fucking country, why can't our federal government, why can't the authorities just be straight up with us? Why can that not happen? Why did that not happen? Well, as you can see, we've surpassed the 14-minute mark. We did make it to page 4, and I thank you for tuning in. But let's go ahead and get ready to end this video. To end this video, and then move on to the Boston Marathon Bombings Chronicles, volume number 3. Oh yeah, pause. I keep doing that.